Well, I've been working for most of today in the garden, and I've been cutting back the laurel arch. Let me show you. Yes, it's been a heavy working day. So if you remember, this arch was really overgrown, huge, massively overgrown, desperately in need of a good cutback, simply because if it gets too high, I've got to get the stepladder out, like I had to do here, and balance precariously on the stepladder to get the thing cut. So I've used the saw and the loppers, and I've just taken virtually everything off the top, which is going to make it more manageable in the future. Yeah. But also it's going to let a lot more light through from here, which of course is east. So when the sun rises in the morning, and especially during the long winter, when, you know, we're kind of surrounded with darkness, it's just going to let more light in. But also, I think it's worth saying, worth noting, that this is actually a beautiful structure. And in its skeletal frame, which it is now, it looks rather enchanting, I think. And of course, it's laurel. So within inside a few months, it's all going to be filled out again. Yeah. And there's ivy growing up it now as well, which I think is rather beautiful. I know it's hard to believe, isn't it? I planted this Irish oak about 17 or 18 years ago. I think I was well into the Bealtaine project at the time that I planted this. And my friend Matthew came up a couple of months ago and climbed right up to the top of it and took some photographs. Do you remember when I put them on the vlog? Yeah, isn't this just the most amazing tree? And this is why, you know, because I'll just sort of sidetrack for a moment here. The soil here is very thin. Much of it has been washed down from the hill and washed further down. So how on earth could an Irish oak grow like this in a mere 18 years? Well, here's what I think. I believe that the earth beneath my feet holds the memory of the great oaks. And there's beautiful lichens growing on it. Which of course is a sign of good, clean air. Magical, isn't it? So here I am in the secret garden, and I've got to say something because I've been so irked, yes, irked, by comments on my last video regarding the oasis that I was using for the holly and how it has microplastics in it and how concerned I should be, etc., etc. And you know, of the whole video, the complaints I got were just on that little segment. Anyway, so I thought, okay, this is a good introduction then to a little bit of education for you. Do you know what the biggest contributor towards carbon pollution, towards global warming as a result of excess carbon in the atmosphere is? No, it's not your cars. It's not you taking flights abroad for a holiday once a year or once every 2 or 3 years. And it's certainly not using plastic straws. which have now been banned here in Europe. We all have to use paper straws, which are ridiculous because they start to go squishy and squashy and then you can't drink anything through them. Do you know what the biggest polluter is on planet Earth? And it's a bit ironic considering what's happening today in Gaza and Lebanon. The military-industrial complex. And they're dropping bombs like there's no tomorrow. Now, I had a talk with my son, who's actually a trained pilot, and I said, and he was in the Air Training Corps, by the way, when we lived in London. And I said, what size of a bomb would it take to be dropped on Belton a Cottage and the 3 acres of woodland to destroy it? He said, not even a £10 bomb. Probably less than that. And it would flatten all the trees and it would destroy all the earth and it would release tons of carbon into the atmosphere and it would kill me and kill any people that were here. So, you know, that would release carbon as well and it would destroy the cottage, etc. You know, are you seeing the picture here? Do you know what bombs are being dropped on Gaza and Lebanon? £2,000 bombs. £2,000 bombs. That's not all. The military-industrial complex covers the entire world. The biggest polluter. Can you name me a government that's actually talking about this? Because I can't. I mean, there are something like over 800 US military bases across the world. Do you have any idea of how much carbon each one of those is responsible for? Carbon release? The planes and the trucks and the men and the equipment and the bullets and the rifles and goes on and on. Anyway, don't talk to me about a few microplastics in a little bit of oasis that I bought, because you're missing the point. If you think that that's going to save Mother Earth, think again. Look at the bombing. Look at the destruction. And weep! Well, I'm sorry to have to say this. You know, it's been a difficult subject for me to approach. But the comments about the little bit of oasis just have triggered me. And I realise that some of you may be quite cross with me even mentioning this subject, but to me it's all consuming. It does give me sleepless nights. It does make me angry. And I despise the politicians. I utterly despise them, in whatever country they're in. Ukraine shouldn't be happening. Gaza shouldn't be happening. Lebanon shouldn't be happening. There should be peace in the world. But our politicians, all they do is stir the pot. They stir the pot. They're psychopaths. I know there's absolutely no point in saying, oh, but we'll vote for this one, we'll vote for that one. In most countries, there's only 2 parties running. And they're both two cheeks of the same arse. There you go. George Galloway said that. There's the man I admire. and he was voted out for speaking his mind. So I'm speaking my mind now, and you know, you may unsubscribe, that's your privilege. You may turn away, that's your privilege too. You may send me angry comments, that's your privilege. However, it's my privilege to Skype them off. Because after all I'm doing is sharing my little bit of life here in Ireland, my cottage, the 3 acres that I've planted. You know, the world should look like this. I've been here 20 years. I'm getting more and more desperate to see governments act positively for the people. No, they're cutting heating benefits in Britain, and there's homeless all over Europe. Oh, it's a bloody mess. It's a bloody mess, and I don't really want to be part of it anymore. So I'm putting out this rant. I don't want to hear anything else about climate change, because I'm not a stupid woman. I don't soak up all the crapology coming from government or from the news, the media. Show me any kind of real journalism these days. It doesn't exist. Media, my arse. Anyway, that's it. For those of you who don't know about Built in the Cottage, this was the cottage on the first day that I saw it, 20 years ago in 2004. And my delight has been doing it up over a long course of time, 20 years. I'm still in that process, but planting a woodland around it has brought me great joy, and I'm quite sure has brought Mother Earth great joy as well. It's a wonderful place to live now, and it just shows you the transformation that can be done in 20 years. I don't know what's stopping all the politicians, really.